I'd like to tell you about sake brewing in Aizu. Aizu is famous for its sake, and I think it's not an exaggeration to say that in the careful preservation of the traditional spirit of sake brewing, the true samurai spirit lives on in the workshop of the artisans here. Now let's start by looking at the history of sake brewing in Aizu. Sake brewing in Aizu started about 500 years ago in the 16th century. During the last stage of the unification of Japan, Toyotomi Hideyoshi subjugated Oshu and sent Gamo Ujisato to govern there. This Gamo Ujisato summoned a master sake brewer or toji from Omi province. This is said to have been the start of sake brewing in Aizu. After that, during the peaceful reign of the Aizu Matsudaira clan, a chief minister named Tanaka Harunaka began a government-run sake brewery as part of his measures to reform the clan government and improve their finances. Time passed, and the clan-run sake brewing was privatized. Thus, during the mid-Meiji period, the owner of a private brewery endeavored to improve sake-making techniques through a number of measures, including inviting a sake brew master from Kobe's Nada district, which was at the time the region with the most advanced sake brewing techniques. As a result of these efforts, Aizu sake brewing developed to the point that Aizu became synonymous with sake brewing. Aizu is blessed with delicious rice, pristine water, and a cool climate that is ideal for sake brewing, all of which contributed to the development of sake brewing there. But foremost in importance was a prominent role played by the Aizu Toji, brew masters. But I will explain that in detail later. Next, allow me to touch upon the history of Suehiro Sake Brewery, where I work now. Suehiro Sake Brewery started when Inokichi Shinjo separated from the Shinjo family to start his own brewery. This was at the end of the Edo period in 1850. During the Taisho period, the brewing techniques in the sake brewing world were still primitive. In this era, rice milling was still done with water mills, and horizontal rice polishers and knowledge of microorganisms was also inadequate. For these reasons, the quality of the sake was unstable, and brewers also suffered through many difficulties. That said, with the samurai spirit that infused Suehiro Sake Brewery, great efforts were made over the years to improve the quality of the sake, and we are now proud to be the leading sake brewers in Aizu. Suehiro Sake Brewery has strictly followed the 3 rules of craft sake. These are as follows: only natural pristine water, only traditional artisanal techniques of the Aizu sake brew master, only sake rice grown from the same pristine water used in brewing, or on land where that water springs forth. First, regarding the water, sake is 80% water. At present, we use the groundwater that flows beneath Mount Hakase, a mountain covered in old-growth beech forest. Old-growth beech forests are called climax continuous, meaning a forest in its most complete form, so the ecosystem is just as it was before human civilization. So you can imagine how that water possesses abundant natural nourishment and energy. Next, Aizu Toji Brewmaster. A Toji is in charge of everything associated with brewing and a true master of its techniques. As the skill of the Toji clearly reflected in the quality of the sake, highly skilled Toji are paid very well at breweries throughout Japan. Years ago, Aizu worked hard to train Toji, and thus Toji from Aizu are well regarded throughout Japan. Then, in 1989, the Toji of Suehiro Sake Brewery, Juichi Sato, became the leader and officially formed a group of sake brewers under the name of Aizu Toji. Currently, Kome Tsusa, who worked brewing sake under Juichi Sato, has become the Toji and is leading brewing at Suehiro Sake Brewery. As a Toji, Kome Tsusa is a rice farmer, so he has a deep understanding of rice, the primary ingredient in sake. Regarding sake rice, we have a strong conviction that brewing sake begins with growing rice. So we have contracts with local rice farmers and are engaged in making ideal rice. 3 years ago, we began a new endeavor, making sake with organic sake rice, grown according to a traditional technique that was written about in the Edo period called Aizu Nosho. At Suehiro Sake Brewery, we cherish our traditions and are now starting to engage in activities that will share the experience of sake with the world. We started exporting to the United States about 20 years ago. Back then, local craft sake was rarely exported, so some small breweries formed trading companies and began exporting to the United States. Compared to large sake breweries, the price for this craft sake were expensive, but we continue to promote the value of craft sake. And Japanese restaurants that use only the best ingredients in their food began carrying our sake. Especially, our sake Daiginjo Ken became very popular in the United States. If you analyze the reason for this popularity, it is in the name Ken, which means sword, and thus benefits from the popularity of Japanese samurai culture. I think it could also be attributed to the easy pronunciation of the name in English. This sake is so loved in the United States that it was served at the Grammy Awards party in 2009. Recently, Daiginjo has become popular in the United States, but for us at Suehiro Sake Brewery, we are proud to have made Daiginjo Ken the first Daiginjo to the United States. I would be very happy if you could feel this sake making process of Aizu that spares no time or effort. With your skin, taste it with your tongue and experience the flowing samurai spirit that forms its foundation. Please enjoy with Suehiro.